All right, today we're jumping right into the African savanna to explore the world of one of its most fascinating and clever residents. You know, they're incredibly social, they're super adaptable, and honestly, way more complex than you might think. So let's get to know the baboon.
Okay, to kick things off, how about a little riddle? What kind of animal is out there on the African savanna with a nose like a dog, jaws that pack a serious punch, and, get this, its very own built-in seat cushion? If you guessed the baboon, you absolutely nailed it.
So let's really meet them. I mean, baboons are one of the most recognizable primates out there, and it's for a really good reason. Their whole look is just so distinctive, and they have this really impressive presence.
And you can really see what makes them so unique right here. I mean, first you've got that signature dog-like muzzle. Then there's their thick fur that comes in all these earthy shades of yellow, tan, silver, or brown. And of course, you can't miss those powerful jaws. But look closer. They've got these really expressive, close-set eyes, and, we're going to come back to this, those hairless pads on their rear ends. And for some species, like the Hamadryas baboon, the males grow this absolutely striking silver mane. Just incredible.
Now, you might think of a baboon as a baboon, but check out the size difference between species. It's huge. On the one hand, you have the Chacma baboon, which can get up to almost 4 feet long and weigh as much as 88 pounds. And then, on the other end of the spectrum, you have the much smaller Kinda baboon, at around 20 inches and just 31 pounds. That is a massive difference.
Okay, and just so we're all speaking the same language here, a group of baboons is called a troop. An adult is just a male or female, and a young one is called an infant. Pretty straightforward, right? So now let's see how they actually live.
So we know what they look like, but what about where they live and what they're up to all day? Well, it turns out that all those physical features we just talked about are perfectly designed for a life spent mostly on the ground.
Yeah, unlike a lot of other monkeys that you might picture living high up in the trees, baboons are what we call terrestrial. That just means they spend most of their day on the ground roaming around the savannas and woodlands of Africa. Now, they'll climb trees for a snack or for a safe place to sleep at night, but their life is really lived right there on solid ground.
So that makes you wonder, right? If you're going to spend your entire day sitting around on hard dirt, sharp rocks, or scratchy branches, how in the world do you stay comfortable? Well, baboons have this brilliant built-in solution for that.
Here it is, their big secret. They have something called ischial callosities. It's a really fancy name, but it just means they have these tough, hairless, nerveless pads of skin on their behinds. They're literally perfect, built-in seat cushions that let them sit pretty much anywhere all day long. How clever is that?
Okay, so what's on the menu when you spend your life roaming around on the ground? The answer is pretty much anything you can find. Baboons are the ultimate opportunistic eaters.
Seriously, their diet is incredibly varied. They'll eat all the stuff you might expect, like fruits, roots, and grasses, but they also go for insects, fish, and it doesn't stop there. They're also skilled hunters, and they can catch rodents, birds, and even small antelopes. They are true omnivores, through and through.
And check out this other super clever trick they have. Let's say you find a bunch of food, but you're in a spot where you might get bothered. What do? Well, baboons have these flexible cheek pouches that work just like little grocery bags. They can just stuff a bunch of food in there, head somewhere safer, and then enjoy their meal in peace.
But you know, beyond just eating and surviving, the real story of a baboon's life is its social world. They live in these really complex, dynamic groups that are absolutely central to everything they do.
And as we mentioned, these groups are called troops. A troop is everything to a baboon. It isn't just a random bunch of animals hanging out, they are a super tight-knit unit. They travel together, they eat together, they sleep together, all for protection and support. It is the absolute center of baboon society.
And these troops can be really small, maybe just 5 individuals. Or they can be absolutely massive, like a bustling community of up to 250 baboons. Can you just imagine the social politics going on in a group that big? It's got to be like a small city, with friendships, rivalries, the whole shebang.
So how do you hold a group like that together? Well, a huge part of the answer is grooming. And while yeah, it does help keep them clean, its social job is way more important. You could almost say grooming is like the social currency in the baboon world. It's how they make friends, strengthen their alliances, and smooth over any arguments to keep the peace. Okay, so with all these baboons in one troop, how do they all coordinate? How do they talk to each other? Well, it turns out they have a surprisingly rich and complex way of communicating. Get this, scientists have identified nearly 30 different, distinct sounds that baboons make. And we're not talking about random noises here. This is a full vocabulary of sounds, and each one has its own specific meaning.
So what exactly are they saying? Well, their conversations include things like friendly grunts and lip-smacking noises to say, hey, I'm friendly. Then you have screams for when they're excited or scared, specific alarm calls for different kinds of predators, and of course, that famous wahoo bark that can travel for long distances. And it's not just sounds. Body language is huge for them. They use a whole range of facial expressions to get a message across. For example, a quick flash of the eyelids can be a subtle threat. And if you see one give a big yawn, it has nothing to do with being tired. It's all about showing off those massive canine teeth as a crystal clear warning sign.
Okay, before we wrap this up, let's run through just a few more amazing facts that really show how special these animals are.
So, remember those big teeth a male baboon shows off when he yawns? Well, believe it or not, those canine teeth can be almost 2 inches long. To put that in perspective, that's often longer than the canines of a leopard, which is one of their main predators. And let's finish off with a few quick stats. Baboons have 32 teeth, exactly the same number as an adult human. Out in the wild, they can live for up to 30 years. And when they really need to book it, they can run at speeds up to 30 miles per hour. Just a truly impressive animal all around.
So, from their built-in seat cushions and cheek pouch grocery bags to their incredibly complex social lives, baboons are just an amazing reminder of all the cleverness that's out there in the natural world. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? With societies this intricate right under our noses, what other secrets is the animal kingdom just waiting for us to discover?